So today we're gonna start to focus on working on adding and subtracting rational expressions. So we're gonna start first with the same lowest common denominator, and then we start to working on more complex questions, which is we need to do factor, and then we need to find lowest common denominator, and then we need to find NPVs, which is the non-permissible values. So here are the questions for today. I will not go through all of them, but I'm gonna nitpicking the one we start gonna be easy one first, and then I will start to pick the complex one that I think that might be difficult for you guys to practice. So the goal is to let you guys understand of how these steps need to be done for adding and subtracting. So let's start with the same common denominator. So let's start with question 1 here. So adding and subtracting a rational expression is basically the same ideas as adding and minus the fraction. So as you can see here, we have 8v here. So we have the same common denominator. So now we can go ahead to do adding subtraction. So I have u here. I adding 6u. So then I will have the answer of 7u of the numerator. And then minus v. And then minus 3v. Then I will have minus 4v. And then over what my denominator is 8v. So that's my answer for the first question. But we need to also state that NPVs as well, because we have a variable in the denominator, which is v. So I need to state 8v not equal to 0. Then I solve v, that I will have v is not equal to 0. And this is my NPV's value. Okay, so let's go next question, which the same denominator but a bit more complex. So let's work with question 3 right here, or let's see. Let's do question 4 because I see a bit more complex. So because we have more bigger number of denominator here, but since they are the same denominator, we can go ahead to do adding and subtracting. So let's go first. I have an n on numerator. I keep exact the same thing. And then I have 5 minus 6. Then I'll have negative 1 over 10n squared plus 16n plus 6. So that is my adding subtraction of rational expression. And then next I need to find the NPVs, but first I need to factor first, and then I can start to use that answer to find NPVs. So let's start to factor first. So 10n squared plus 16n plus 6. I need to factor them out, so I can take 2 out because they are greatest common factor. So I'll have 5n squared plus 8n plus 3. Then the number is much less, so let me zoom in a little bit here. So now I have 5n squared plus 8n plus 3. They are decomposition, so let's factor them out. So when you factor, you should have 5n plus 3 in the bracket, and second bracket will be n plus 1. So 5n plus 3, and I will have 8n. So now I state this statement as not equal to 0 because I'm trying to solve for NPVs. So the first one is the first bracket, which is 5n plus 3 not equal to 0. My second statement is going to be n plus 1 not equal to 0. Then I start to solve this for my NPVs. Then my first NPV's value will be negative 3 over 5. My second value is going to be n not equal to negative 1. So these two values are my NPVs. So this is how we do adding and subtracting with the same denominator. So let's moving down to different questions that they have different denominator. So let's start with simple one, which is question 7. It's where they start to have different denominator here. So I have 6 over x minus 1, and then 5x over 4. We need to find LCD, standing for lowest common denominator. So we need to combine these two fractions together to be able to do adding and subtracting. So my lowest common denominator here is going to be x minus 1 times 4. So basically we combine these two denominator together. So therefore I will have So let's put 4x minus 1 in the big fraction. So the first one here, I need to times 4 because I need to times 4 to have the same lowest common denominator here. So we have 4 times 6 minus 5x, and the second fraction I need to multiply x minus 1 to have the same common denominator, so I have to multiply the numerator the same thing, so I'll have x minus 1. So now I just need to multiply all the numbers inside the bracket and start to do subtracting. So what I'll have is 24 minus 5x squared plus 5x 5x squared, yeah. Then 4x minus 1. So I will have 24 minus 5x squared plus 5x. And then I will start to rearrange. I put the highest degree in the front, and then the number will be at the back. So once you put the biggest degree in the front and lowest to the back like this, so that is basically your final answer for question 7. And then you need to find NPVs as well, which is going to be x minus 1 not equal to 0. And then you solve for x, then you have x not equal to 1. And this will be your answer for question 7. So let's keep going and find different questions here. Okay, let's work on question 12. So here's question 12. So I need to find lowest common denominator first. So it would be n plus 5 times 2n plus 6. Remember, we combine two denominators together to have the lowest common denominator. Then I need to find my NPV as well, since I have lowest common denominator, so it's pretty much easy to find them. So I have n plus 5 not equal to 0, and 2n plus 6 not equal to 0. So my first NPVs will be n not equal to negative 5, and the second one is going to be 2n not equal to negative 6, and then we'll have n not equal to negative 3. So these two values are my two NPVs. Next, I'm going to put all these two rational expression in one big rational expression, which is n plus 5 and 2n plus 6 in the denominator. And the first one, I will have 5 times 2n plus 6, and plus I have 4n times n plus 5. Then I start to expand it out so I can solve the answer. So I have 10n plus 30, and then plus 4n squared plus 20n over n plus 5 to n plus 6. Then I will start to solve by adding and also put the highest degree in the front at the same time. So what I will have is 4n squared plus 30n plus 30 over n plus 5 and 2n plus 6. So since we have 4, 30, and 30 as coefficient, I would like to solve further, which is take the 2 out to have the simplest form. So I have 2n squared plus 15n plus 15 over n plus 5 times 2n plus 6. So these will be my final answer for question 12. So let's solve for one more question for today. So let's scroll down. Let's find the hardest question here.
And earn some plus points faster with the Scotiabank Ultimate Package and bank more entertainment. Learn more at scotiabank.com/banking packages. Conditions apply. Scotiabank. You're richer than you think.
Okay, so we have second page here. So the concept is pretty much the same. Ooh, I think I see what question I like. So question 23 to down here is pretty much more complex, but I don't think that the teacher want you to solve that. So if you like, let's start to work with these. So let's solve question 26 here. So if I have 5 over 4 remain the same over And because the m in the denominator of another denominator the same, we can go ahead to subtract 5 minus 4. So I have 1 over m. So to simplify this further, I will have is 5 over 4 divided by 1 over m. And then when I multiply, they become reciprocal of 1 over m, which is m. Then I will have 5m over 4. So that is basically my answer. And then we also need to state the denominator is m is a variable, so that's my NPV as well. So this is for question 26. Since question 26 is pretty simple, so let's do one more because I want you guys to understand how to solve different common denominator. So let's do question 21 here. So since we have really big lowest common denominator here and the other one is 3n, so what we do, I will combine together. But first, let's check if they can actually factor first of the first denominator. So what I do is let's solve down here. So 5n squared plus 7n minus 8, and then I need to find if they actually work. So 5n minus 1 plus 8. Yes, it does work. So what I do is I would put the factor for lowest common denominator, and then 3n will come together because we combine two lowest common denominator. So let's erase this. Okay, so now since we know this is my lowest common denominator, so since I know that is my lowest common denominator, I can actually solve for my NPVs. So first is I have n minus 1 not equal to 0, so n will be not equal to 1. Next is n plus 8 not equal to 0, so I will have n not equal to negative 8. And next is 3n not equal to 0, so I will have n not equal to 0. So these are three NPVs value. And then next we just need to combine these two fractions together to do addition. So I have 5n plus 5 and then times 3n plus 7n times 5 times 5 times n minus 1 and then times n plus 8. Then over 5n squared 35n minus 40 and then times 3n. Okay, now we will start to expand slowly, which is 5n times 3n. We'll have 15n squared plus 15n. So now since we need to do expanding and factor is pretty difficult, so what I would do is I erase this and then I coming back, I put 7n and I'm gonna put this denominators, so this will help me to expand much easier. You probably ask, why we need to factor earlier? You're lying to me. So, well, it's actually true. I was lying, but remember when you factor, it's much easier to find the NPV's value here. So now, since you know when we factor denominator, it's easier to find NPVs, but to expand, we need to find the expansion version here to do solving. So remember, keep this way, so easy to expand. So let's do expanding, continue. 7n times 5n squared 35n cubed plus 5. 7 times 35, so 755 20 is 245n minus 40 is 280n over 3n times 5n squared plus 35n minus 40. So now I'm just gonna put my biggest degree to the front. So I have 35n cubed, and then 15n squared is next, and then 15n plus 245n, so I have 260n, and then I have to do minus 280n, which is I forgot to do. So 260 minus 280n, I will have negative 20n. So I erase those, I will have negative 20n over 3n n squared plus 35n minus 40. Then I will start to simplify this further. So I will have 5n over 7n squared plus 3n minus 4. Then I'll have 3n squared plus 35n minus 40. And then let's double check if we can actually factor this or not. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we can. So let's continue to do factoring here. So I will have 5n over factoring of 5n here minus 4 and n plus 1. So this will give me the same as 3n. 7n minus 4n will give me 3n. And since this can actually do factoring, so let's see if they match anything here that we need to do factor or not. So let's see. So up here we have 7n minus 4. There's nothing common in denominator to cross it out. And n plus 1, we have n minus 1. Oh, it's so close, but we do not have anything to cross it out. But however, we still have one more thing to cross it out. We do have n here to cancel each other. So we will have 5. So we have 7n minus 4 and n plus 1. And then 3 times 5n squared plus 35n minus 40. So this will be my final answer for my adding and subtraction. So this episode is finished for our adding and subtracting of rational expression. I hope this will help you guys to understand better, and I hope to see you guys. I will see you guys soon.